Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from the Middle East, and I've got some very concerning information that the U.S. is making some moves right now that could possibly indicate a massive military strike that's going to be carried out onto Iran to try to destroy their nuclear facilities. Take a look at your screen here. U.S. begins evacuating personnel amid growing tensions with Iran. The State Department is preparing to order the departure of all non-essential personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad due to the potential for regional unrest, two U.S. officials said Wednesday. So not good news, guys. The U.S. starting to evacuate personnel in the Middle East. I know several air bases are starting to be evacuated as well, as they're possibly preparing for a major strike onto Iran. And Iran has come out recently stating that they will retaliate, possibly even go after U.S. military airfields and air bases, go after Israel and their nuclear program as well, strike their nuclear facilities. I mean, this is getting pretty crazy over here, and I will start sharing all these details coming out. My X page today is just absolutely blowing up with information coming out from the Middle East. Tensions are very high right now, and anything could really happen. Let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to hop on over here to the New York Times. This is a mainstream news publication talking about these personnel that are being taken out or evacuated from Iraq. So take a look at your screen. U.S. to withdraw diplomats from Iraq amid Iran tensions. The State Department said it had decided to shrink the U.S. footprint in Baghdad, and the United Kingdom issued a warning about increased tensions within the region. This is coming out today on June 11, 2025. You can see the date right here. The State Department has decided to reduce its diplomatic presence in Iraq. The department said in a statement on Wednesday as tensions across the Middle East spiked amid signs that nuclear diplomacy between the United States and Iran may be deadlocked. Word of U.S. decision, along with warning from the United Kingdom about new threats to Middle East commercial shipping, came hours after President Trump said in a podcast released Wednesday that he has grown less confident about the prospects for a deal with Iran that would limit its ability to develop nuclear weapons. American and Iranian negotiators have been planning to meet later this week for another round of talks, although Mr. Trump told reporters on Monday that Iran had adopted an unacceptable negotiating position. Yeah, he stated that to reporters earlier this week, basically saying that Iran wanted to be able to enrich uranium at a certain percentage that would be considered for civilian or peaceful purposes, but the U.S.'s position is they do not want Iran to be enriching uranium at all, period. No enrichment is allowed, and the Iranian position wants to allow that, so that's kind of where they're deadlocked right now. It says the British warning came from the country's Maritime Trade Agency, which issued a public advisory saying that it had been made aware of increased tensions within the region, which could lead to an escalation of military activity having a direct impact on mariners. The advisory urged commercial vessels transiting the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and the Strait of Hormuz to use heightened caution. The sense of alarm was heightened by comments from Iran's defense minister, General Aziz Nazirzadeh, who warned on Wednesday that in the event of a conflict following failed nuclear talks, the United States would suffer heavy losses from Iranian attacks on U.S. bases in the Middle East. His comments were reported by Iran's Islamic Republic news agency. The State Department did not provide details on how many personnel would be removed from Iraq or why. The Associated Press reported on Wednesday that non-essential U.S. personnel would be withdrawn from Baghdad, and that non-essential personnel and family members of diplomats had been authorized to depart from U.S. embassies in Bahrain and Kuwait. Okay, so you can see they're starting to evacuate family members, non-essential personnel of diplomats at multiple embassies across the Middle East, Bahrain, Kuwait. We have a report today. I think there's even a base in the UAE that's starting to undergo evacuations as well. So they're getting ready for retaliation from Iran if they happen to try to strike their nuclear facilities. So let's go ahead and hop on over to X. I've got some independent sources that I want to share information with over here as well. So from New York Post, Trump tells the Post, Pod Force 1, he's less confident about Iran deal, but vows mullahs won't get nukes. Okay, this was Trump actually in that interview just in the last 24 hours today. As he stated, he's less confident that they're going to reach a nuclear deal with Iran. So that's a very big indicator that it's going to be go time here very soon. They're going to try to strike Iran's nuclear facilities, and we might have all-out war between the U.S. and Iran. And Iran already stated again, they're going to attack and retaliate back onto the United States and attack their air bases, possibly even Israel as well, if they are attacked in any way. So now from Geo Insider, a well-informed source told Al Mayadeen that the notice regarding the reduction of U.S. Embassy staff in Iraq arrived on Wednesday, although preparations had been underway for about 3 weeks. The decision isn't based on an imminent threat, but is meant to help diplomatic families plan their departure. While the evacuation hasn't started yet, it's expected to begin on Thursday. Core staff, including the charge d'affaires, will remain at the embassy. Okay, so it looks like all non-essential people are going to be evacuated out of these embassies. They're going to start getting people out now, preparing for any retaliation from the Iranians. Now, could this strike happen in the next few hours? I think it's highly unlikely, but there's lots of information that there's just so much tension building up in the Middle East. Iran's getting ready for this strike right now, so it really could happen at any time. But I'm thinking it's most likely going to happen over the next few days or so. Now, for Mosul Defender, Iraqi officials confirmed the evacuation of diplomats and staff from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, as well as General Consulate in Erbil. Okay, so Iraqi officials even confirming the evacuation of diplomats and staff from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Okay, so this thing is happening now. From World Source News 24/7, breaking Iraqi government source to state news. U.S. evacuation measures extend beyond Iraq to multiple Middle Eastern countries. Okay, so multiple Middle Eastern countries evacuating U.S. personnel. Okay, guys, this is very serious. That's all these personnel being evacuated. That's definitely preparations for some sort of major war to potentially happen over here between Iran and the United States and even Israel. Now from Mosul Defender, the U.S. ordered all embassies in striking distance of Iran, including those in the Middle East and parts of Eastern Europe and North Africa, to convene emergency action committees and send cables back to D.C. about what measures they are taking to mitigate risk, which is what led to today's departures, from Iraq, according to the Washington Post. Okay, so we can see here also convening emergency action committees and sending cables back to D.C. That means they're getting ready, for communications, to relay communications back to the U.S., get ready for this potential retaliation from Iran. That's what U.S. embassies are all ordered to be doing right now to get ready for this potential strike. Now from War Monitor, the U.S. base in Al Dhafra, UAE, begins evacuating families of employees. Okay, this is what War Monitor is reporting now. Even a base in the UAE, Al Dhafra, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, there's a U.S. base over there also being evacuated. Okay, families of employees being taken out of there. Now from Open Source Intel, here's just went down, and it's very interesting. UK Maritime Trade issued a rare warning about rising tensions in the Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, and Gulf of Oman, citing potential military escalation that could directly affect shipping. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is preparing for an ordered evacuation due to security threats. State Department is pulling non-essential staff and families from Bahrain and Kuwait. U.S. military dependents in Bahrain have been cleared for temporary departure. None of these moves came from Fleet Forces Command, meaning this likely came from the top, possibly the White House. Something serious is unfolding. So the White House most likely initiated all these commands to start evacuating all these people, getting ready for this strike. I mean, this is a very serious situation, and it's unfolding very quickly. Now from Mosul Defender, initial reports that Naval Support Activity Bahrain, the home of U.S. Naval Forces Central Command and U.S. Fifth Fleet, as well as other bases near the Persian Gulf, have been placed on high alert, with the dependents of service members being told to prepare for evacuation, possibly due to concerns of military action related to Iran. All right, so more indication here that U.S. bases and embassies are getting ready, being put on high alert right now, preparing for retaliation from the Iranians. Also from Mosul Defender, Reuters reports that the commander of U.S. Central Command CENTCOM, General Michael E. Correa, has postponed his testimony tomorrow in front of congressional leaders due to rising tensions in the Middle East. Okay, so he's supposed to be speaking tomorrow to congressional leaders in the U.S., and he postponed his testimony tomorrow. Okay, so that means that things could be going down at any moment, and he's got to be there ready to go. And there was a story yesterday that apparently he had presented like a list of options that U.S. President Donald Trump has to go after Iran right now. So pretty much all the preparations are done. Israel's done with all their preparations to launch their strike onto Iran. The U.S. looks like they're ready to go as well. So literally this could be imminent right now. Now for Mosul Defender, U.S. Republican Senator Tom Cotton said in a post earlier that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth confirmed today that Iran is working towards a nuclear weapon, adding that this cannot be allowed to happen. Senator Cotton was likely referencing a statement made by Hegseth while testifying in front of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee, in which he stated there are plenty of indications that Iran has been moving their way towards something that would look a lot like a nuclear weapon. Yeah, that was stated by Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, just in the last 24 hours. Here's Tom Cotton, or Senator Tom Cotton, excuse me, on X, and he says, today, Secretary of Defense confirmed that Iran's terrorist regime is actively working towards a nuclear weapon. For the sake of our national security, the security of our allies, and millions of civilians in the region, this cannot be allowed to happen, okay? This is another major indication this strike is going to go down onto Iran here very soon. Now for Megatron Ron, breaking Yaakov Bardugo, an Israeli journalist close to Netanyahu, to Channel 14. Israel is close to attacking Iran in a very short time frame. We are only days away from attacking Iran. This was him right here, stating this on this news channel here, Israel 14, or Channel 14, excuse me, out of Israel. And that's what he stated, that we're at a very short time frame, that it could literally be like a week away, but he believes that we are days away from attacking Iran, and it could be even sooner, possibly. That's what he stated there. Now for Max 25, Iran is also preparing to strike hidden Israeli nuclear facilities in the event of an attack by the latter on Iranian nuclear facilities, the Supreme National Security Council of Iran said. Yeah, there was a story that came out actually a couple days ago that Iran supposedly had carried out a cyber attack onto Israel and stole a bunch of their nuclear weapon secrets and their nuclear program, was able to obtain a lot of documents, hidden information about where their nuclear facilities are located, what they have and whatnot. They were stating that they would go directly after their nuclear facilities and respond based on what happens to them. So if Israel strikes their nuclear facilities, they would do the same thing, attacking Israel back, going after their nuclear program. So insane what's happening over here. Now for Mosin Defender, Al Arabia reports that military aircraft believed to likely be Israeli currently flying over southern Syria. So this was just about an hour or so ago at the time that I record this today on June 11, 2025. So Israeli aircraft likely flying over southern Syria. So this attack could be going down right now. Who knows? Maybe even at the time that I'm recording this. Mosin Defender reports increased military air activity reported over the Anbar province of western Iraq. Okay, this would be closer to Syria, like Jordan area, where this was taking place at. And this could possibly be Israeli aircraft in the area. Take a look at this. We'll go ahead and pause it there. So clearly, the U.S. and Israel is getting prepared for this strike, and somebody was outside here in western Iraq recording what sounds like military aircraft flying over the area. Now, we can't completely confirm that, but there is a lot of reports of activity over Syria and western Iraq right now, okay? So now from ViceGrad24, breaking, Iran starts jamming GPS signals in Iraqi airspace. Okay, that's not some good news too. That means that Iran is preparing for some sort of attack, and they're trying to jam GPS signals, as most likely Israeli and U.S. planes would be coming from that direction in Iraqi airspace before they enter into Iran to carry out these strikes. So very concerning. Now from Mohammed Awazi. Declaration of maximum alert status in all Revolutionary Guard and Army bases across Iran. Okay, so it says here, this is a journalist covering Iranian affairs focused on insightful reporting and analysis of region's politics. Okay, so one of my sources was actually sharing this, that apparently Iran's Revolutionary Guard and Army bases all across Iran are on maximum alert status right now as they're getting prepared for a potential imminent strike on their nuclear facilities. This is crazy. Now from Terror Alarm, Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has disappeared and been whisked away to a secure, undisclosed location. Okay, so that's not good too. If we're seeing Ali Khamenei, or Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, being taken away and sent to an undisclosed location for protection, that means this thing can be going down here any minute. That is more very concerning news that are coming out. Now from World Source News 24/7, breaking, an Iraqi security official told AFP there is communication with pro-Iranian armed factions to persuade them not to bomb and target the U.S. embassy. Okay, so apparently, pro-Iran armed factions in Iraq are asking Iran not to respond and attack this U.S. embassy over there, probably one of the embassies that are being evacuated right now. So, I mean, we're definitely going to see some sort of strike. I mean, this is go time here, and Iran is probably going to be attacked here very soon. Is it going to be Israel that's going to do it? Is it going to be the U.S.? Or will this be a combined strike where this will be the U.S. and Israel at the same time? I mean, nonetheless, this is definitely going to create a major war over here. Hopefully it stays contained, and we'll see how effective the U.S. is going to be at striking these nuclear facilities, as Iran could have these facilities buried deep in the mountains, and maybe some of these bunker-busting bombs might not be strong enough, or even if nuclear weapons were to be used, not that the U.S. would use those or Israel would, but considering these facilities could be so deep in the mountains, they might not have the correct munitions to strike deep enough, which is obviously a concern. But it looks like the U.S. is ready to go, and they have been warning about this for weeks now, and I've been letting you guys know. I haven't been talking too much about the Middle East, but it looks like something is going down now. I'll continue to follow this story. If we get some more updates, I'll do another video for you guys at a later time, let you know what's going on over here. But let me know what you think is going on in the Middle East right now. Share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions down in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.